When I was a little girl, my father wrote a book. It wasn't one to be published, but it profoundly shaped who I am today. Now, this book was done as a flip chart, like it was spiral bound, and you flip it over. There was, I suppose you would say, the PowerPoint of the 60s. But this was written to be used at church. And he did the old school cut and paste with the scissors and the paste to make this book. Now, this story was about a little girl who loved to do all the things that I love to do. She loved to go to parties. And the book would show these pictures of this, and it would say, I love to go to parties. I love to sing and dance. I love to play dress up. And on it would go with these different activities this little girl enjoyed. But every few pages it would say, but why do some people hate me? Now, when I saw this story, which I saw over and over again, obviously, it spoke to me as a little girl because they were the things that I was doing and I was enjoying, and that I would do with my sister, and many of them with my brothers as well, and our neighbours. So why is it that this little girl was so different that people didn't want to share these things with her? Why did they hate her? The picture at the end of the book is etched firmly in my memory. It is that of a little Aboriginal girl. She was just the same as me. She liked all those things that I like to do. This has shaped this idea that I have of how opposites are really the same. No matter who they are, where they're from, what they think, what they do, deep down at the core of who we are the same. As an adult, I started to see that this was such an important thing, that each of us are the same, that we all have these same needs. We all want to feel loved and accepted. We all need to feel like we belong. We all need to have this sense of that we are someone of worth, that we can contribute to the world and make the world a better place in some way. Now, the events the other day in America where a black man was killed for basically being black. He was pulled aside as a suspect just because of his colour. I don't know about you, but that really wrenches at my heart when things like that happen. But I've come to recognise that it's not up to those who are abused, those who are oppressed, or who are the victim to stand up and to change the way things are. We can't just stand behind people and say, oh, that's terrible. Why do they let that happen? People should be treated that way. That's a start. But it's not enough, is it? Because that does not change anything. If we stand with those who are the victims, if we stand with them and start to learn about who they are and what their story is and how they feel, what's their experience, we can start to understand and work with them and know what they need. It's an important place to start. But it's still not enough. We need to stand in front of them. They are the victims. They are the vulnerable. We need to stand in front of them and protect them. We need to give them the sense that they are accepted for who they are, that they belong in our community, and that through doing this, we can start to heal those wounds and start to live together in a vibrant community where we all want to live. The story of prejudice is not my story. I have never been the victim. But just because it's not my story doesn't mean it's not my fight. It's up to each one of us to take on what it is we feel called to do. We can all make a difference. It's not that hard. If we just reach out to one person and change their life in some way, make them feel loved and accepted, then we're going to start making a big difference in the world. If each one reaches out to another, just one person, we will change the world. And this is why I become so passionate about chocolate and coffee breaks, because it gives us the opportunity to do that. We can just reach out to one person and share those simple pleasures in life: chocolate, coffee, and conversation. But when we do, those walls of barriers just break down between us as we start to learn about each other and understand where the other person's coming from. Who knows, you might even make a friend. So I invite you to think about this and think about how it is that you can make a difference. And it might be just as simple as sharing a chocolate, enjoying a cuppa, having a conversation. For here you can change the world.